under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. I think I saw the mayor. Are you here? Mayor Rico, you want to stand up so everybody can see you? Do we have any other county or city representatives that I didn't see? Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
My name is Wally Wallace, and I'm the Economic Development Coordinator for the city.
Nice to meet you, Wally. Thank you. How about our chamber board members, our ambassadors, and our volunteers and office staff? Would you all stand up? Without these folks, we would not be a chamber of commerce. We could not have our luncheons. We couldn't support different opportunities throughout the community to raise money for different venues, to make sure that you know about our businesses and to so that we can frequent them. So thank you all for being here. And before I do the roundtable, I do want to mention last Tuesday we have Meet the Candidates at the Massari Theater. Thank you very much, TSJC, for letting us use that theater. We had a very good turnout, lots of candidates. I think a lot of us learned an awful lot about the people that were running for office. It was very enlightening, and I really want to make a special point to thank KCRT. They broadcast that. I'd like to thank Tom Murphy. He was there and broadcasted. It can be found on his YouTube channel. What is it again, Tom?
Trinidad Times TV 71.
Thank you. And we had the World Journal and Chronicle News were there. So special thanks to all of those folks. And I'm sure now you know a little bit better how you want to vote. So before, so Trinidad Correctional Facility is the host for today's luncheon, and before we make our presentation, I'm just going to go around and we'll do a round table, so if anyone has any news, please let us know. How about at this table? Anybody have anything to share? Good?
I'll say one thing.
Hi. Do I have it on?
I don't know.
Is it green? Nope. Now it's on.
There we go. Now you can hear me. Okay. My name's Ian Morris, and I am a chamber ambassador, but I'm also one of the owners of SoCo Quick Clean. I just want to remind everyone, with the freezing weather coming, we do water remediation. So if you have a leaky pipe or anything inside, give us a call before it becomes a mold problem, or if you know anyone. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just want to mention that everybody's receiving their ballots, probably starting yesterday in the mail. And when you look at your ballot, there is a 2B on there, and that is our capital improvement project extension. It is not an additional tax. Some people think it is. It's just an extension from what we've been doing so that we can do our capital projects in town. And so together with that and other marijuana funding that we get, it's two separate funds that we use it for. So please keep in mind that it's just an extension of what we've had in the past. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Cindy Thielen. I am the volunteer coordinator and community outreach coordinator with Sangre de Cristo Hospice, and we have an advanced directives coming up next month, but I wanted to tell you about it ahead of time. It's on November 14th, 11 o'clock at the library. I encourage everyone to come or to at least get in contact with us to see if we can come to your organization and do an advanced directives presentation. It's extremely important. Anyone 18 or older have this in place. If something happens to you and you can't speak for yourself and you're in the hospital and you want something specific taken care of for you, it's not up to you if you don't have anything in place. And it could be a fight between two family members, and that is a lot of stress as it is. So please consider coming and getting your advanced directives done, and please ask us if we can help you at your organization and put on this presentation. We can do a presentation for as little as 15 minutes or up to an hour. And if anybody is interested and just wants to do it on a one-on-one basis, just feel free to see me afterwards. I have some flyers up front. So thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is the Rocket Man, aka Brad, and I work at the Youth Club of Trinidad, and we've been building lots of model rockets. And this Saturday, we're going to be launching the rockets at Central Park at 10 o'clock. So come to see some kids launch their rockets that they built. Thank you very much. And we got the grant from Bar 9, so thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Cora Warwick, and I'm the new artistic director for SCRT with the Trinidad Community Theater. One reason I'm here today is to talk about all the things that we plan to do moving forward in 2020, and just a few of those ways that SCRT still wants to stay involved with the community. One of those ways is by targeting more of our youth, offering multicultural arts and presenting those on stage. Another area that we'd like to expand on is our elderly and specifically hospice work within the theater. Along with the well-being of individuals, we also plan to encourage and promote family and community wellness through the arts by working with the correctional facility, providing ways to do theater workshops and promoting and finding ways through our performing arts for children of inmates and family well-being. To use selective theater works to encourage strengthening family and community. It is highly proven that painting, music, writing, and performing arts not only helps in rehabilitation of inmates, but it also reduces the numbers of recidivism and raises the number for community success. The research has proven that the arts awakens a sense of hope and purpose, heals trauma, and reaches the human parts that life extends into our community. It lowers suicide rates among the prisoners and also the correctional officers. The results have proved that the longer someone is involved in the arts, the more he or she shows positive behavioral changes. This leads to education, mental health awareness, alcohol and addiction awareness, and treatment. Statistics show that prison arts programs show an 18% rate of reoffending compared to a 45% rate of those inmates without art programs. And finally, SCRT will bring and introduce new workshops involving puppetry for youth and adults that include creative designing and performances. SCRT is currently involved with professional puppetry being brought to our community due to the volume of interest that we saw when we experienced the professional puppeteer Liz Dapo. This annual event would add another platform for expanding in adult and youth programs, workshops, and training. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ernie Parker. You can probably tell who I represent. I'm with SCRT. I'm one of the board members. We've got two events coming up this month. Starting this weekend, we have Neil Simon's The Star-Spangled Girl. The tagline for that is 2 guys, 1 girl, and a lot of fireworks. It's a really neat comedy, and we hope everybody will come out to see it. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend and the following weekend. Then on Halloween, we're going to have an adult costume party. And she doesn't know I'm going to do this, but you're the organizer of it, and I'd rather you talk about it.
Well, it's free to get in. It starts at 7:30. We will be opening the doors at 7:30. The costume contest will start at 8:30. Like I said, it's free to get in. If you want to enter the costume contest, it's $5. There will be first, second, and third place prizes awarded. There'll be games, and the winners of those games will also get prizes, so it should be a lot of fun. Just come on out and have fun.
Bonnie Aaron, Superintendent, Trinidad School District Number 1. In case you've been seeing these signs around town and you want to know what VEST means, I put some fact sheets out on the table and some buttons if you'd like to wear them around town. In a nutshell, it's a $15 million grant for building excellent schools today. It's the only way school districts can access the marijuana state revenue money. That's only a few school districts were awarded that, and we were awarded, and we have to come up with $4.5 million is our local 29% match. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Deb Hartman from South Central Council of Governments, and I just have a couple more weeks on the School District 1 School Board, but I just wanted to remind you today of what an asset you have in our Superintendent of Schools for School District 1. You will see her down at the roundabout picketing with best grant stuff, so for me, but you also will see she's the biggest cheerleader for our school district and our teachers and everything that is attached there, and I think we lose sight of that, and we tend to take that for granted. This lady moved here to make a commitment into Trinidad, and I just can't tell you how dedicated she is to this community and the difference that she's made. So I didn't want to leave office without having you recognize her and please support her, because those schools and this bond issue is our community's responsibility to keep those buildings safe. The state funding no longer does that for us, and maybe some of you have gone to those schools and attended them, and it's time for them to be upgraded. It's just for capital improvement. So please keep that in mind and give this wonderful lady here all of your support, not just today, but every day as she proceeds with our children's future. Thank you so much.
Hi, no. Hey, thanks a lot. I should have gone first.
I'm Donna. I'm the continuing education coordinator here at the college, if you don't know me. I've left some flyers out on the table out here, but a week from today in this same room at noon, we have our the return of our Food for Thought series will be Joe Coca, and he'll have his new book, The Human Thread. Joe is from the area, and he's been all over the world taking pictures. He wrote this book. He'll do a presentation about it, and he'll also have a book signing following that. Feel free to bring your lunch if you want to eat. And then we're also going to be having an OSHA 10-hour for construction training November 19th and 20th. And I've got flyers for that out on the table, so if you know any contractors who may be interested in that, you can get in touch with me. Thank you. Anybody else?
Over here.
Linda Perry, also at Trinidad State Junior College, and this weekend come out to Scott Gym. We'll be having the SoCo Best Robotics Challenge competition is this Saturday. There are 12 area schools that are represented either in their high schools or middle schools. And these kids are great. They've been building a robot for 6 weeks, and tomorrow and Saturday will be the day for competition. They can move forward to regionals, etc. But they have a number of tasks that happen on Saturday, and it's a great fun competition. Please come out for that. It starts at noon.
So before I turn it over to Trinidad Correctional Facility, on your tables, there is a flyer for the Business Expo. The Business Expo will be held this Friday, and it will be here in the Pioneer Room. It is free to the public, and anyone needing a booth, it is free to you if you are a member of the Chamber. If you know of anyone that would like to participate and has forgotten to sign up, please contact me or Nisha Crossan at our Chamber office, and we'll get that taken care of. So, with that being said, I'm going to introduce Pat Fuhrer. He was our major down at Trinidad Correctional Facility. Been there for about 3.5 years. And he just got promoted to associate warden. And so with that, he left us and went on up to Pueblo to our sister facility. But in exchange, we acquired Tracy Coleman, who is now our new associate warden. Welcome.
Good afternoon. As Sherry said, my name is Pat Fuhr. It is a bittersweet day because today is my last day. We conducting an official function with the facility that I've been with going on 4 years, and I'll tell you, it's been an amazing ride, and I don't think I'm going to leave with a bad memory. It's been awesome. Before we get started with the slide, though, we did bring a couple of staff with us today, so I'd like those staff to stand up and we'll introduce our team real quick. If you'll stand up, I'll raise your hand when I get to you. So, Major Paul Kelly, he's our support services manager. Lieutenant Pablo Mendez is our Intel Lieutenant and Emergency Management Coordinator. Captain Les Geis, our maintenance captain. Captain Mike Jaquez, food service captain. One of our teachers, Angela Hadaway. Our life safety officer, Nick Martin, back there. Stephanie Martinez is our business office and accounting technician. Captain Max Sanchez is now over our programs. He's just recently been transferred to the programs captain position. Next to him is Dina Gamboa, our pre-release reentry specialist. Captain Randy Cook, who supervises all of the security staff, both housing and the security staff themselves there at Trinidad. Behind him is Jim Costin. Jim, how many days do you have? 15 days until Jim retires. So Jim has been with Trinidad really since it's opened up, and he has been a food service staff member there, and most recently the recreation and volunteer coordinator. So congratulations on 15 more days, Jim. Kelly Gatlin, our staff resource coordinator. Case manager supervisor Nancy Brisson. Back in the back we have Eileen Emery, who is our health services administrator, and next to her we have Andrew Shawn, our nurse 3. And then we have Lance Gatlin, who is the programs major, or excuse me, operations major. He supervises the part of the facility that Major Paul Kelly doesn't. They kind of split the middle. And then again, Tracy Coleman, the associate warden. And somebody that everybody knows is Sherry Jacobson, excuse me. She is our ACA coordinator, policy coordinator, and the Chamber's president. So, did I miss anybody at all? Awesome. So as we're going through the presentation, if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand. There are also those people, we strategically placed them throughout the dining room so that if you have any questions or comments, that they're there to assist you in any understanding. One of the reasons that we wanted to do this, there's multiple reasons. We do come in and enjoy the lunch with you every month, but we have never had the opportunity to actually host the luncheon. Sherry and I started talking about it last year, and we didn't get it pushed through. Early this year, we did finally get the required signatures that we needed, and I think we were trying for July, and then something else happened, and we got October. So it's been in the works for a while. You know, we're not a business. We don't support. We're not, I guess, an income-producing business. But we wanted to talk a little bit about what we do for the community and for the Chamber of Commerce, and really, Hollywood does such a poor job portraying correctional professionals. So there's maybe a preconceived notion out there or two on what it looks like inside of a prison, and we're hoping that we can maybe clear some of those thoughts and let you know what a great organization we have at Trinidad Correctional Facility. So,
besides it looks nice.
Besides it looks nice. For a prison, yes, it looks awesome. Not like what you see in the movies. So, this is the mission statement of the Colorado Department of Corrections, and it's to protect the citizens of Colorado by holding offenders accountable and engaging them in opportunities to make positive behavioral changes and become law-abiding citizens. So we'll get into that quite a bit today. Not real in-depth, but we'll cover a lot of that. But really, what we're trying to do is, as the largest law enforcement agency in the state, we want to make Colorado safer. And making Colorado safer isn't just locking up the convicted individuals until it's time for release. It's making sure that they have those positive behavioral changes. It's giving them marketable skills. It's giving them education. It's making sure that when they get out, they have a much better chance of employment, housing, all of the things that they're going to need so that they don't create new victims and they don't come back to prison. And that's what we do at Trinidad. And based on the type of population that we have and the staff engagement that we have, some of the success stories that we have, and we'll get into those also, are just absolutely phenomenal. I use that phenomenal word for Okay. I'm not going to go through all of the numbers up there, but you can see the number of employees, and what's in parentheses is Trinidad specific. The Department of Corrections, as a state agency, has almost 6,000 employees. Executive directors, these are all of the different divisions within the Department of Corrections. We fall under the Division of Prisons. For the most part, we do have some clinical staff that are assigned to our facility, but we're the Division of Prisons.
And we have one parole officer.
One parole officer, and he didn't make it today. Thank you, I forgot. Some of the things for the community that we talk about. We do have 161 full-time employee positions, full-time equivalent positions at Trinidad Correctional Facility. And over 100 of them live in the Los Animas County, Trinidad area. So that's a substantial payroll that is provided each month. That payroll goes into the housing, the food, is supporting the restaurants, supporting the local businesses. The American Correctional Association, nationally accredited and re-accredited. And Sherry, we're going to speak a little bit on the ACA and our processes there.
So we are nationally accredited. Not every state in the union is a participant in this, and it reflects in their lack of policy and the way that they handle offenders, totally different. So there are 20 facilities throughout DOC here in this state. There are 20 people that are my position. We go around to all of the facilities about 4 times a year. Each of us hit 4 different facilities, and we audit them for 3 years for everybody's cycle. And on the 3rd year, we are nationally audited by a national team that the American Accreditation Association sends out. So it is a huge deal. It's a tremendous responsibility to make sure that we all are following the rules, that we are following policy. And there is nothing that happens in a facility that is not policy driven. So because of that, and because we take it so seriously, on the 3rd year we are accredited or we're audited, and then whatever facility is being audited nationally, they have to go back to the national board later that year and answer questions that they may have that they discovered during the audit. And it may be, gee, we like the way you did that. What made you decide to do it that way? But it is a big deal. So then after you answer the questions right and they're satisfied, then you get a very nice certificate, and we get to display it for 3 years, and then we go through it again.
So we have how many standards? Mandatories, non-mandatories, pushing 600?
Right now we have 567.
567 total. Our last national audit was
It was in May
of this year.
Right.
Of the 567 standards, we did miss 2 standards, so we hit 565 out of 567. The 2 that we missed were due to physical plant and the way the facility was built 20 years ago, and the standards have changed. So to pick up those 2, we would have to do a complete, almost remodel of the facility. So we had 99 points. 573 standards to be met, so I'm sorry, it's right there. And you didn't tell me. Next slide. Thank you. So again, preparing them for release. We do have a parole simulator. Major Gatlin, who was Nancy, you want to talk about the parole simulation and case management and what we do to help them prepare for release? And again, folks, at any point if you have questions, but Parole can be a trying time for a lot of people. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of expectations that have to be met. So we do everything we can, and this is a new tool that we've recently started using. So I'll let Nancy explain the case management and parole simulator.
Parole simulation, we have cards, we have scenarios for them. So the staff did it first. Major Gatlin got quite frustrated, I must say. It's not easy what we ask of our offenders once they get out, and all the responsibilities that they have. We had a time frame, and we had to get our IDs, and we had to get bus passes, and we had to go do UAs, and we had to go get jobs, and you were trying to get around to all these stations, and you had to have a bus pass every station you went to, and you ran out of bus passes, and you had to go back and buy more bus passes, and you didn't have enough money, so you had to go to the reentry unit, which Ms. Gamboa is part of the community reentry team, and it was totally frustrating, and so we could see how it becomes so frustrating for our offenders when they get out there, and why we have to do more and more to prepare them to be able to be successful and not come back to prison. So then we're offering that now every quarter for offenders that are within 6 months of release, so that they can kind of go through it if they've never been out there on parole before, and it just gives them a step up to see what the challenges are going to be for them once they get out. And helps us to know the direction we need to go to help them be ready for that release date. Case management is responsible for the offender's release. We are the ones that put together applications to get them out to community corrections or to present them to the parole board for an early release. And some of them have to go home on their mandatories. We also have a new system called the Colorado Transitional Accountability Plan. It has an assessment tool, and this tool then identifies the criminogenic needs that we need to make changes in. And so then through case planning, we work with the offenders each month, and we give them homework assignments, we do role playing, just anything we can think of to help them see that there are better ways to think about things and better ways to handle that. So we play a very big part in helping offenders be ready to get back out there and to be productive, pro-social citizens that you want to live next door to you.
Thanks, Nancy.
So the case planning that Nancy and her team does really does affect every aspect of that offender's life while they're incarcerated, whether it's needing an education, whether it's needing drug and alcohol treatment, anything that they are identified as a need. That's what that focus is, and we work on getting them assigned to the proper areas so that we can meet those needs and help them be successful upon release. And Nancy and her team do a fabulous job. Where are we? Let's see. Some of the things that we do in the community. We did help out with the obstacle course by feeding the staff. Yes, Angela.
Some of us were actually out there building.
And some of us were out there building. Thank you, Angela. She's vocal. Our education department, and Angela is the teacher, or one of the teachers from the education department. Angela, if you want to come up and talk a little bit, but you can see some of the different programs that we have. We have 3 GED teachers. Do you, off the top of your head, know how many GED completions we had in the last year? 55. So
our goal was 45.
So we exceeded the goal.
Awesome.
So 55, and come on up and I'll hand you the mic, but 55 offenders that enter prison without that high school diploma or equivalency, and now they do have that, and that helps them either obtain jobs or go on to higher education. I'll let you go on with the rest of those, though.
I don't.
You don't
I
need
have
this?
a teacher's voice.
Oh.
Is there anyone who can't hear me?
Can you move over there because we have camera? Thank you.
Okay. There's a very strong correlation of people who have their GEDs or have a high school diploma. Their children are more likely to get a GED or have a high school diploma. So we feel very strongly that our students need to get that GED or high school diploma. we are affecting the next generation. And that's something we feel very strongly about. We have 3 GED teachers, and we aim for 15 to 18 students graduating from each one of our classes, and we have not, in the 6 years I've been teaching, fallen below that. We've always gotten well above that at Trinidad. After you get your GED, you have several choices. If you want to continue your education, you can take computer classes. We have a computer class that is basic computer and personal computer skills and customer service. And we have a computer network and computer programming class. So those are 2 different classes. We also have a construction class and a carpentry class. So if you'd like to go that route, we can put you in that route. We also have a culinary arts class. So we have different choices for our students to go through. We also contract with TSJC, Red Rocks Community College. They bring in different modulars for us to use short term, and they bring their own instructors in. We also have 3 classes where we have our teachers come in from TSJC to do long-term classes. So we have a business entrepreneurship class that runs 9 months. We have a business, not a business class, college success class that our students who have got their GED but just need to brush up on those basic math and language arts skills, they can take that before they go into some of the other language or other college classes. And then we have, right now we just started a what's that class? Human Services class, thank you. So we have a lot of different options for our students to take. We also have Adams State runs a program where we can do distance classes. So I coordinate the distance classes for several students. Right now we have one that's only 2 classes away from his bachelor's. So we have a lot going on in our programs building. Cognitive education is not for credit, but they can do thinking for a change, why try, and moral recognition therapy. Okay, sorry. Here's a picture of our graduations. We have graduations from most of our classes, and this one is business entrepreneurship. I just looked up there and that was me. I was like, I don't teach that class. But this is business entrepreneurship. And in our graduations, we'd like to invite families to come in because we'd like to start reconnecting our students with their families and let them come in, have a family time after the graduation. So we try to bring it in or have it scheduled right in front of a visitation time. Okay? Anything else? And I was building that playground. I was not putting on the serving stuff. Linda Perry was building that playground too.
Thank you.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
I was going to ask now, they're talking about the educational aspect of this, the number of inmates in the Colorado system that you have. Do you know what percentage of those inmates have high school diplomas versus those that do not have high school
Approximately
diplomas?
1/3.
1/3 do not have.
And a lot of those are Spanish speakers, and we're still trying to serve them, but it's a little bit more difficult for us. So approximately 1/3 do not have a high school.
Thank you. The K-9 program, do we have anybody who's going to speak on the K-9 program? K-9 program is run through Correctional Industries. Correctional Industries. Your dog is from the K-9 program? Anybody else have a dog that has either been trained out there or they adopted? Most of these are rescue dogs that come to our K-9 program. The offenders get certified with the training skills. It's an employable skill to take after they are released from prison, and they provide very well trained dogs. We actually enjoy going to that living unit probably more than any others because of the canines are in there and they're therapeutic for staff and offenders. But just having them on the yard actually reduces that level of stress, which reduces the level of potential violence or anything else. So it's a fantastic program, and if you're looking at adopting a dog, contact the correctional industries or look on their website. They do have some fantastic dogs that are going through there on a regular basis. Jim, were you speaking on the volunteer programs? With 15 days left, I'm not sure I trust you. Come on up.
All right, so right now, we have 38 volunteers, so we have just about one volunteer for about every 15 offenders, and that's a pretty good number to keep. We've got a full-time chaplain. He's been with us about, I want to say 3 years now? Yeah, 3 years. We have a gal that comes down from Pueblo quite a bit. She does a Break These Chains Ministries, and we usually pack in maybe around 200 offenders for each trip she makes. The New Life Church, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a pretty big church out of Pueblo. And in fact, they're coming down again next month. So our volunteers, we have anything, like it says, from a Buddhist monk to, I'm sure you guys all know Rodney Wood. So he does a lot of help out there. And if you all recall, the Art Car project was huge out there. If you haven't had a chance yet, take a look at YouTube and go to Discarded Beauty, and you'll get a good idea of how the offenders get involved in these programs.
Anything else? Any questions?
Thanks, Jim.
Really, those volunteers, those 38 volunteers, and the services and programs they provide, if we had to have a paid staff member, the cost or to the taxpayers would go up exponentially. So having those volunteers coming in, assisting, providing those programs really is a great asset, and it keeps these guys busy and helps them improve themselves. Major, you talking about the job fair this year? Awesome.
Good afternoon, everybody. One thing that we've done recently, the last few years, is we've really focused on some reentry initiatives that have come out through the department. It wasn't all that long ago when an offender was ready to release, we took him on a transport. He was still in wrist restraints. We took him to the bus station, took off his handcuffs, and he got on the bus and away he went. So now we realize it's probably not the best solution for successful reentry, and we try to give them as many tangible tools and resources that we can to ensure that they are successful. One of those things is a job fair, and that's how it started. It was just trying to find employers that could assist them with employment. Again, as we transition and evolve, we realize, well, it needs to be more than that. We need to provide any opportunity for a resource there, whether it's housing, whether it's social services, whether it's how to get a driver's license, whether it's health care or employment, to help them be successful. So this is the 4th annual fair that we've done. It's our largest to date. We had over 29 businesses there and groups that were represented, to include, again, healthcare. We had Trinidad State Junior College was there, Crossroads and the Los Angeles County Health Department are a few from the local area. We've also had places all across the state, from Grand Junction to Denver area. There was a large showing from Denver, Colorado Springs, Pueblo. And so these are different individuals that had the opportunity to communicate with those resources, to get a business card, to actually do an interview, or other resources to get that information. Up in the top right-hand corner there, or left-hand, I guess, from your perspective, is the gentleman in the blue shirt is Ralph Left-Hand Bull. Left-Hand Bull was a previous Trinidad Correctional Facility offender. He spent about 8 to 9 years in the correctional system, and he is now working for a sheet metal workers union up out of Denver, full-time employed. He came down with that union and represented that employment opportunity and spoke with other individuals there at that resource fair, and another job offer was extended to one of our offenders at that event. We've got several interviews that we can continue to conduct with those groups, to include 2 tomorrow with the Other Side Academy, a housing opportunity in Denver area for people that really want to change their life, that have made a decision that this is my last opportunity for a change. Right when we were finishing up the program that day, one of the last people out of the building came up to me and he stated that he was appreciative, of course, of the event, but he said, you know, he goes, I met somebody here today that I know without a doubt is going to change my life. That's exactly what we're about at Trinidad Correctional Facility, and finding those reentry opportunities to provide that success and change lives, create less victims, and reduce recidivism. So, very successful event.
The impact and the credibility that Mr. Left Hand Bull brings with him as a previous offender, and a lot of people that still reside out there know who he is and know what he was about. So for him to come in and be representing an employer organization really showed them that they can change their lives also. We've had quite a few people through those job fairs, employment education information fairs, that have received written job offers. One of our greatest success stories, I won't mention his name, but this gentleman did 39 consecutive years behind prison, or in prison. That wasn't getting out and then committing a new crime. That was 39 consecutive years. So society's changed a little bit in the last 40 years. Was it late last year when he finally left, or was it early this year? But he had a written job offer in his hand, and when he was walking the yard, if you were out there, you were going to see it. He was proud of that job offer. But 39 years, and he's still out, and he's still working. And that's public safety, and that's what we're working for. So we do have quite a few success stories, but Mr. Left Hand Bull and this other gentleman are a couple of our notables. Our community service and some of the things that we do, these are usually associated with a nonprofit. So we are very supportive of the Special Olympics through the torch run, through other fundraisers that we do within the facility. And it's not just the staff. We do have some pictures following of the offenders and how they got involved and raised money for Special Olympics also. The Shop with the Cop, the Pop with the Cop, the Tip a Cop Foundation, Ada House. At the Christmas time, we do provide quite a bit for the Ada House. So there's a number of the organizations that we assist locally. A lot of our staff with the Shop with the Cop at Christmas time, and the offenders, the children that we assisted in getting their gifts. This was an offender food sale to raise money for Special Olympics, and we do have a Special Olympics athlete in the photo there. This is the art card that we were talking about, that Jim was talking about, and we're the only prison in the nation, and Artacade is a nationwide event. They've got them in Houston, San Francisco, Seattle, Trinidad, it's all around the nation. But we're the only prison in the nation that has built a car, and we've got 2 cars down there. This one is Vanity Take 3. They brought that vehicle back 3 years in a row now, and have continued to add to that vehicle. This was the polar plunge up at Lake Pueblo, jumping into the ice cold water for the. Oh, that was not a great memory. Some of the other events that we've participated in. Walk a mile in her shoes. Paul Kelly, Major Paul Kelly.
That was rough.
He came in first place.
It was your mother-in-law's shoes,
Sure were.
Paul, did you want to speak about work crews and some of the things that you guys do?
Sure. As you can probably tell, we get out a lot in the community. You probably see the work crews all over the city and the county. The city of Trinidad, they utilize our help on the parks, the golf course. They also, COG, we've done a lot of work over at COG. We've done work at the county, fairgrounds, and throughout the county for the CDOT, for the Department of, for the Highway Department. We do a lot of, from picking up trash to remodels to, at the golf course, we're doing weed control, grass cutting trees. We also work at, this is the Cokedale, town of Cokedale. We do probably once every other month, about a week. We are working at Cokedale. At the golf course, we're probably there once a month for a week's time, and probably the city of Trinidad also. And so it all not only helps the community, but it helps the offenders also. The guys that do get out there, they learn a trade. They learn not only just to pick up trash, but we do concrete jobs, like total remodels that we've done here in the community. And it's yes, it helps the community, but it helps the offenders. And a lot of the offenders, they get released early, and because of the stuff that they do out in the community, because it gets their points drop when they do stuff like this, and so they're able to get out early, get an early release on that side of it. So the guys or the offenders that we talk to that work out here in the community, just to be able to get out is one thing, get out behind the walls, behind the fences, but yet to work in the community, to work for all the people that they do, they enjoy it, and it's something they enjoy talking about, and yet in the experiences that they learn, a new job and a new trade is something else that they take home with them. We do a lot of work within the facility, a lot of work programs in the facility. Another thing that they didn't do is, or talked about, is our wastewater treatment plant. Through education, they provide services for our offenders. They give them workbooks and study books that they can actually get their test. And they start with their Class D license and work their way up to a Class A license. We had one offender from Trinidad that did get his Class A license, and we've had multiple offenders that got their Class D, C, and B licenses. And we do have an offender that is working up in Denver, and an offender released about a year ago with the Class C, and he is working for that offender up in Denver at this time. So that's another program that we do. We do have a lot of murals within the facility that we have a mural crew that goes through, and it has to be censored through the management team. They have to look and make sure that what they're going to be putting on the walls is suitable for Trinidad. And we also, this is the filter plant. Filter plant is through Correctional Industries. Correctional Industries, we provide filters for pretty much every facility in the state of Colorado, also here for Trinidad Junior College. They purchase filters for us, and it's all HVAC filters. You can go on, you can even get personal filters for your furnaces at home, and you can go on Correctional Industries website and order them, and we make them there at the facility. This is our vehicle maintenance program. What they do is they maintain the fleet vehicles. They get credit and they get paid on what they do to their vehicles. If it's only 2 wash jobs for that month, they get credit for that. And we do light jobs, oil changes. We have a tire machine, so we'll change out tires on all the vehicles. And we'll do minor jobs, but most of the rest of the stuff we bring here to the Trinidad area. We kind of rotate with the different shops throughout the Trinidad community. So, and this is our food service area. I don't know if Captain Hawkins wants to talk about his side of what they do.
So good afternoon, everybody. So I'm in charge of food service, laundry, and housekeeping. My specialty is food service. So ultimately what we do there, we provide 3 meals a day, every day, 365 days a year. In preparing those meals, we do special meals for all the holidays, but we also are in charge of doing any medical diets, religious diets, and also medical snacks that we hand out to these offenders. Everything we do is made from scratch. So not only are we working to provide at least 2 hot meals a day for these offenders, but we also teach them skills. So here you see I'm working on the serving line. That's my dish pit, kind of. But we teach them everything from basic sanitation skills to actual cooking and bakery skills, where they could actually take these, return to the community, and have an opportunity to be successful on the outside, especially since most of them, when they return to the community, this is what the opportunity that's going to be out there for them, is working in the food service industry. So we really try to install a sense of pride in what they do and just give them the skills and knowledge that they'll need.
And Safe certificate?
We are currently working again on giving a ServSafe certificate, which is basic food safety and sanitation. That certificate is good throughout the country, and it's good for 3 years. They go through a small course, and then at that point, once they pass a test, they're certified for that 3 years. That's something they can take out into the community with them.
Thanks, Mike. So going back a few slides, I don't know if you saw the number, but there was 15,000 hours that the offenders work in the community. Those hours were all either at nonprofit or government agencies. We don't work at or provide service for-profit organizations. But 15,000 hours times even minimum wage, you can see that that is quite a cost savings to the Trinidad and the Los Animas County area. And that's one of the things that we do that helps the Chamber of Commerce is provide that service. In addition to the working skills and the accountability of them having to get up and go to work on time. So prison normalization is one of the new things that we're looking at. It's a statewide initiative. And normalization is trying to make that prison life as normal as possible to civilian life. We don't want them to get out of prison after being locked up in that one gentleman's case for 39 years and not having an understanding of what society looks like. And that doesn't mean that it's making it a softer and easier life inside the facility. We still have to maintain that safety and security aspect. But it does mean that if they have to be at work at 8 o'clock, then they have to be responsible to get up for work at 8 o'clock. There are some other ideas that are coming into play to include different payment schemes and a whole lot of ideas that will be coming along with the prison normalization initiative. And that we're very new into this initiative, so we're still not sure, although the arts, you were speaking about the arts, that is one of the big things that we'll be looking at bringing into the facility. We have had the Trinidadeo Blues Fest, one of the bands come out. We had some comedians come out and put on a show, some concerts, but we're also looking at putting on some programs where it's actually the people that live there, the offenders that are putting on those shows in the near future. So trying to get them to be able to relate to what it looks like upon release is the idea of normalization. Well, that looks like we're finished. What are your questions? Ma'am?
What lands a person in your facility?
Really, it comes down to they've been convicted of a felony.
Felony.
If it's a year or less, if it's a misdemeanor, it's county jail. If it's a felony, they go to the Department of Corrections. So at that point, an offender, after being sentenced, goes to the Denver Reception Diagnostic Facility, and they are based on a number of needs. They're looking at medical, they're looking at mental health, they're looking at education programs, they're looking at a whole array of issues, and they are placed at that point in the facility that's best suited for their needs. We're a level 2 facility, so we're at the lowest level, Trinidad is. Depending on length of sentence, they may start at a higher custody facility. That gentleman that did 39 years, he was, over the course of his incarceration, quite a handful at times. And he made the decision to change his life, and he was able to progress. So it really isn't based on the crime, it's based on their behavior, and there is consideration based on the time that they have left in prison. So we do have criteria before they can move to a level 2 or a level 1 facility. They have to have a lot to lose to be able to progress to this point, but it's also based on their behavior. So you may have somebody with a very low level felony in a high security facility because they can't behave inside prison. They are a threat to the other people that they live with and the staff. And you also may have somebody at a low facility, like the gentleman that did 39 years, that had committed murder, but over the period of that time, he had learned to behave himself, and he didn't have any what we call code of penal discipline convictions. He hadn't acted out. He wasn't working in the right direction, so he progressed up to a lower level facility. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, sure does. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Sir?
You obviously have a very high rate of inmate rehabilitation and success stories. What about the ones that have to come back, the recidivism rate that you have, that just don't want to, adopt a society?
Sometimes that's really difficult for staff when we do see those failures, when we do see that revolving door. But we can kind of relate that to our young children. And if you have a young child that wants to touch the stove, you may slap their hand a little bit and tell them no, but they might do it again. That doesn't mean that we give up on them. So sometimes it does take 3 times, 4 times, 5 times before they understand, but we have to continue moving on. The recidivism rate, I believe, is at 50, right in the neighborhood of 50%. The Department of Corrections does have initiatives in place to reduce that number by 4%, which doesn't sound significant, but when you look at the overall numbers, it's a reasonable goal to work with for now, and then as we reduce that number, we keep moving forward. So we do have success stories, but we do have some that just aren't ready to move on from either the gang lifestyle or the criminal life or whatever the situation is. Does that help? Sir?
Originally, wasn't it supposed to be 2,500 beds? Are there any plans to grow the facility?
So Trinidad was originally a 2,500 bed design in the late 90s. Sterling Correctional Facility was supposed to be the twin facility, and it did end up at that 2,500 bed. Right now, no, there is no design in place for it to grow. As a matter of fact, we're hoping, you know, I can tell you the 20 people that we brought, if we were all out of jobs because there was no more crime, we would all be happy to go find another job. But no, based on the needs right now and the projected needs of the department, there isn't a plan in place to expand our facility. Yes, ma'am.
Mine is more of a comment, but I just want to commend the level of valuable services for reentry. Renee and I were asked to go out and address the dads that were going to reenter society.
Can everybody hear her? I'm going to hand you the mic if you don't mind. Because you're patting us on the back and I'm speak loud.
I was just commenting on the number of reentry valuable resources that you have. Renee and I were asked to go out and address the fathers that were going to be reentering society, and you mentioned children, but we found ourselves with such a receptive audience. They couldn't wait, and we talked about how their choices in life affect the brain development of their children, and they were so receptive. I mean, they gave us a tour of the whole facility. They asked us to come back, and we really created quite the bond that day, because we're all about kids, and we found out that they are too. And I think our community ultimately has a vested interest there. And I thought that was just a really great thing to share with our community as just another valuable resource that I wish all dads could have that kind of support. And I just wanted to commend you on that.
Thank you.
Yes, I just have a comment too. Upon doing my research based on Colorado specific and reentry, it was reported that between 57 and 73% of those who had re-entered society were positively affected, or they said they were positively affected by the work programs and the art programs that were available to them. But it was the 100% statistic that got me when asked, that said it completely improved their self-esteem, their confidence, and their ability with social skills to move forward with their life. So I just thought that was fantastic.
Well, thank you. Those are awesome numbers. Other questions or comments?
I have some numbers, some things.
Some goodies?
So if you have a lime green sticker under your chair.
We search the facility all the time, so you guys get to search your chairs now.
There's only two of them, so we gave away one. Eric has the other. And then I'm looking for 2 pink stickers. So if you have a pink sticker under your chair.
There's a pink one, Sharon.
And then if you have a blue one. Blue, yeah, those go to the blue. I want to thank you all for coming to today's luncheon and for letting Trinidad Correctional Facility share with you what we do and how we help keep your community safe. How many did you sold out?
One more blue.
One more blue, 3 more blues.
It's probably one of the DOC staff, Paul Kelly. So somebody at that table, you
While
don't get
we're
it.
looking for those, I want to say thank you. And I also want to make one more mention about our Business Expo on Friday. We're going to have 3 workshops there. At 9:30, there's a social media workshop. At 11 o'clock, there's a financial planning workshop. And at 1 o'clock, there's a small business workshop. So those are 3 special workshops for those that come and participate with the Business Expo. But thank you all again for coming. Oh.
And I also wanted to let everyone know that we are opening sponsorships for 2020. So anyone has a business that might be interested in sponsoring a lunch the Trinidad Correctional Facility did today, please notify me and we will put you on the calendar.
Thank you all very much, and we'll see you next month. Next month is being hosted by the historic Trinidad Main Street Group.